Hello Racers! Today we will be talking about spoilers. We got tons of them, so instead of normally with shorts as we did the previous ones, I will combine few of them in a single video for you. So let's start with first one, and it's Knight of the Republic. So it's a 6 mana Vigilance Heroism unit. It has 4/7 stats, so stats are pretty okay. The redeeming factor is that he has a Force and the Jedi keyword. And when this unit is attacked, it's creating a Clone Trooper token. Clone Trooper tokens are a 2/2 minions with Republic keyword and Trooper keyword. But this card comes really late. So 6 resources is really late into the game. And he doesn't really have any immediate impact. So when this unit is attacked, trigger will be really good if you manage to give him Vigilance. Or if your opponent is on really low HP, and killing him will also create a token that may kill your opponent, but those two things are not really that often. And because of his really bad stat line, I don't think he will be extremely powerful. He will be a quite good limited card, but I think this is the best that he can do, so I will give him a 3 out of 10. Nextly, we have Infantry of the 2012 unit. It's also a Vigilance unit. It's a 3 mana 2/4 Republic Clone Trooper, and he has Coordinate Sentinel. So Coordinate is a keyword that only activates if you have 3 or more units, including this one. So it's basically a worse version of a card we already have, because we had a 3 mana 2/4 Sentinel. The big difference may be the keywords. So Republic, Clone, and Trooper are pretty relevant. But terrible stat line, not really great ability, and its conditional ability makes him one of the worst cards in the game, and for that I will be giving him a 1 out of 10. Okay, so next we have Kraken, a unique unit, 5 mana Cunning Villainous, 2/5, so not the greatest stat line. Separatist droid, but droid keyword works with Grievous. When played, create 2 battle droid tokens, so he immediately creates a 2/1/1 minions, because the villainy tokens are a 1/1. And on attack, he will be giving those tokens and any other tokens +1/+1 for the phase. So he is basically a 5 mana 4/7 when played. And then he has a little bit of a buff when he attacks. The buff is not great. I still think it will be mostly a card for limited, but he has some use in Grievous that can make him a Sentinel or make the tokens Sentinels. So I think he may find a little bit of play in Constructed if the droid deck will ever become something playable. And for that, I will give him a rating of 4 out of 10. I still think he will be below average, but it is possible that because of the droid keyword, he will be played somewhere. Nextly, we have Separatist Super Tank, so a 9 mana Cunning Villainous vehicle that is 8/8 and has exploit 3. So you can sacrifice up to 3 units to reduce his cost by 2 for each unit that you sacrificed. And it can basically be a 3 mana 8/8, which would be amazing, but sacrificing 3 units may be a big cost to pay. It will definitely be a big boost for an exploits deck, but I think also it can be pretty decent in triple Dark Raid, because with triple Dark Raid, you will only need to sacrifice 2 units to play him on 3 mana. Or you can sacrifice 1 to play him later, or just adjust what you want to do, and 8 immediate damage is pretty big. So this is something that may end up in Tarkin vehicle deck, and for that I will give it a 5 out of 10. Because I still don't think 9 mana 8/8, even though Exploit is a pretty strong mechanic, is still too good to be put in more than a few decks. And then we have Echo, so a second unique Echo we have. It's a 2 mana Cunning Heroic card. It's a 2/2 Republic Clone Trooper and has a coordinate that will give him +2/+2. So, in the vacuum, this card is really bad, because 2 mana 2/2 are terrible. Coordinate will not be that easy to achieve, especially early, because it may be your first unit to play, and you don't really want to be playing a 2 mana 2/2 because it will play trade down with almost everything. The redeeming factor for this card is basically the fact that he is Echo, and he may synergize with the Echo we got in the previous set, that if you discard a card with the same name you have on the board, you gain +2/+2 tokens. So if you play Echo, the old Echo, and you discard this one, you still will get the ability of him to get +2/+2. And because of it, and maybe if we ever get Leader, that is Echo, he will be playable, but outside of the combo with Echo, I don't see him really do anything else. But I will give him 4 out of 10 just in case the Echo combo is playable. So next we have Republic Tactician Officer. It's a 2 mana Cunning Heroism card that has 1/4, and it's Republic Clone. And when play, you may attack with a Republic unit, it gets +2 for this attack. So we have already a few units that work the similar way. We have the Fleet Lieutenant that works with Rebels, or a Trooper that works with Imperium. And both of those units are a playable card and allow the Rebels and Republic to be stronger. His stat line are a little bit awkward. 1/4 is worse than 3/3 or 2/2 in many ways, because one attack doesn't really kill anything relevant. But because this set will have a lot of tokens that are 1/1, that stat line may actually be quite okay. And we didn't really see enough of a Republic cards to say that they will be playable. But this is definitely a really good start. But in the vacuum, I still will give the card 5 out of 10. It may be better, but it mostly depends if Republic as a keyword is stronger as a trait. Okay, and next we have a actually really underwhelming card. It's a 5 mana Pelta Supply Frigate. It's Command and Heroism. It's a 3/5 ship. So it's a space unit that also has a Republic and Capital ship keywords or traits, and has a coordinate, create a Clone Trooper token. So you need to have at least 2 units before you play this one to get a token, and even if you get the token, 3/6 is really awkward stats in space, because it doesn't really trade with much. If you manage to get that clone, then it may be a little bit better, but it still won't be enough to, I think, validate playing it, because it will be quite hard to accomplish it really often. And the payoff is not that big of a deal to compensate for a really terrible stat line. So for this, I will give it 2 out of 10, and I don't think this card will be playable outside of limited. And now we have a B1 attack platform, so it's a 3 mana aggression villainous droid, Separatist trooper that is 5/2. So it's basically a Hearthstone Ice Rager. And in the vacuum, 2 HP is extremely volatile. There is a lot of pings that deal 2, and like Death Stormtroopers, like Daring Raid that can instantly kill him. And because of that, because of the amount of things that deal 2 damage, I don't really think he will be really playable. But on the other hand, 5 attack on second turn is quite big. And if you manage to keep the board clean, he may be a really fast attacker. And if you manage to somehow give him, ready him and attack with him again, cards like this can see play, and for that I will give him a rating of 3. But it's mostly because he has a really good traits, and not because of his really terrible stats. And next we have a really like card that I think will see some play. So it's Savage Oppress. It's a 7 mana aggression villainy unit. It's a force and underworld traits. It's a 7/7, and it has, when played, if you control fewer units than your opponent, ready this unit. So if you don't have any units and your opponent have 2, he will enter ready. And a 7 mana 7/7 is not really amazing, but it's not bad. 7 HP makes him trade really well. 7 attack makes him kill almost everything. And entering ready is an extremely powerful ability. Like in this set, we got Cassian that can be played for 5 from your resource for a smuggle, and he enters ready, and he only has 3 attack, and often it's enough to close the game. So 7 attack is like on the other level, but he comes pretty late, and because he comes pretty late, I can't really give him anything above 6, but I think he will find few decks, and a lot of people will die because of his attack, but I will still give him a 6 out of 10 rating. So next we have Batch Brothers. It's a 3 mana aggression heroic Republic clone trooper that it's 2/1, and when played he creates a token. So he is basically a 4/3 unit, so SWU-SwoopRacer stats, so he should be really good. It's spread out into 2 units, both of the units have 2 attack, so both of the units can be traded down. If your opponent played turn 1 at 2/3, it will basically trade with both, so that's not really great. So it will basically only be played in Republic decks and decks that really care about these keywords that wants you go wide, so coordinate. And because of that, I don't really think that card will be amazing, but it's versatile enough to be played, so I think it will have a 5 out of 10 rating. Next we have Low Altitude Gunship. It's a 6 mana aggression heroism ground unit, ground vehicle unit. It has Overwhelm, and when played, choose an enemy unit, deal 1 damage to it for each friendly Republic unit. So this card is basically dependent of how good the Republic unit will be. If you will manage to have 2-3 Republic units on turn 6, or I think most likely in the new Han deck on 5, this may actually see play, but we will need to see more support for the Republic. But I'm exactly a little bit hopeful for the card. Overwhelm is decent with a unit that has 6 attack. 5 HP is not great, but it will trade with most units, and when played, if it manages to kill something, it will be really good. So I will give it a 5 out of 10 rating. And now we have a Unnatural Life. It's an event. It's a 3 mana cunning villainous card that you can play a unit that was defeated this phase from your discard pile, and it costs 2 less, but it enters play ready, and you need to defeat it at the end of the turn. So it's basically a reverse sneak attack. It's a card that Torque revealed, and he summed up this card pretty good. Sneak Attack doesn't really see much play because it uses a card from your hand. This doesn't use a card from your hand, but it's one more expensive, and it doesn't give you a discount. So it's basically 2 resources more expensive than Sneak Attack. So I don't really see anything that can benefit from this unless we get a really specific combo. So for me, it's one of the worst cards revealed so far, and I will give it a 1 out of 10. And on the other hand, now we have a 2-mana R2D2, Cunning Heroism, and it's a 2-form unit, so he has a really good stat line. And when played, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, search the top 3 cards of your deck and draw it. Put the rest on the bottom. So you look at the 3 cards, pick one, put the rest on the bottom, and he has an above average stat line and amazingly strong ability. Fixing your draw is pretty good. Fixing out of 3 is decent, but it also gives you the ability to discard something, and it may be relevant in the future. And even if it doesn't, getting rid of one card in your hand at the beginning of the game is not that big of a deal. And because his stat line is actually really good, because it trades with almost everything, it's really hard to kill on turn 1. I think this will be one of the most played cards that we have seen so far. I think every single heroic cunning deck will be playing 3 of them. So for me, this is almost a 10 out of 10, but for now I will give it a 9.9 out of 10. It's one of the cooler cards they've shown. Next we have something that I actually am quite disappointed with. It's a creative thinking, it's an event, it costs 2 mana, it's cunning and heroism. You can exhaust a non-unique unit to create a clone trooper token. So this is basically a worse Leia, because Leia can tap anything and can untap a resource if you need to. So now you not only don't have the ability to tap anything, because you can tap non-unique units, and if you played with command, you will notice how many good units are actually unique and how hard it is to use that card with the attack, with the shot of it, because it doesn't target unique units. And creating a Clone Trooper token is okay, it's a 2 mana, basically 2/2 with a tap, but the tap is so unreliable that I don't really see this card ever seeing any play. So for me it's a 2 out of 10. And next we have another disappointing card. It's 3 mana Heroism card, so it can go in really high variety of decks. It's Republic Commando. It's Republic Clone Trooper with a 2/5 stat line that sometimes has Saboteur. Saboteur is an okay keyword, but it's not the greatest. And having the keyword to be on coordinate, that is really awkward to have. So it has bad stat lines and a bad ability, relevant traits, but yeah, it's a 2 out of 10. I don't think he will see any play. And then we have quite interesting cards. So Kashyyyk Defender, it's a 2 mana Vigilance Heroism card. It's a Wookiee. It's a 0/5 Wookiee with Grit, and when played he may heal 2 damage from another unit to deal that much damage to this unit. And in the vacuum this card is not the greatest, but because Han exists, this card already can be pretty decent. Because Han's ability allows you to play a unit for 1 cheaper with damage, and Kashyyyk can basically heal that damage, and then you will be getting a 2 mana 2/3, which is not the greatest, but if you play him with Han's ability and heal something, he will become a 1 mana 4/1, which is actually really good stat line, and you will be able to heal something. So for me, it's a really good addition to the deck that currently exists. So a blue Han, and if we get heroine leader that works similar to Kira, that damages your unit to give them some buff, this may seem a really powerful combo in the deck. So for me, it's a 5 out of 10. And now we have the leader that we didn't reveal on the shorts, so it's Maul, and I'm quite disappointed. So when he is not flipped, he can attack with a unit and gave it Overwhelm. So it's an okay ability, but it will really rarely do more than 1-2 damage. And sometimes they will do nothing because you don't always want to trade. And when you flip him, he is a 6 mana, 6 Sears Force Underworld unit that have Overwhelm and give your other units Overwhelm. So he flips really late. He has okay stat line, but 6 HP and flipping on 6 is really hard to overcome because almost anything can kill you. And you either want to be an aggro deck and overwhelm units to kill your opponent fast, but then you deploy on 6, so you will not really close the game that fast. So for me, this leader doesn't really have any way of really be able to play, at least for the moment. The best, I think, he will be in like some kind of force deck, but still 6 mana 6/6 for me is really a bad stat line, and for this he will get a 3 out of 10. He will still be okay in limited. And lastly, I will need to change a rating we already did on Royal Guard Attaché. So we did a short and we gave this card a really low rating. So the original rating were 4 out of 10, but then we basically remembered that leader like Krennic exists, and this is basically a Battlefield Marine for Krennic. And Krennic is a really decent leader. Battlefield Marine is, I think, still the best 2-drop in the game, until the R2D2 overcomes him. So, because in Krennic he will be a 2 mana Battlefield Marine, so a 2 mana 3/3, that can be healed, which is not really a big difference, but it can matter. The new rating for this is 8 out of 10. And this is all for today. I really hope you enjoyed our ratings. We will, if the drop of the cards will be slower, we will still be doing them in shorts. And if we get a big amount of cards, we will be doing it in videos. And at the end of all the spoilers, we also will be going again through most of the ratings and adjust some of them. I will also really like if you would comment on the video and say what your ratings are about some of the cards, and if you think that we forget or missed something with the cool combos. So, and thank you guys, and see you on the next video.